Hi, I'm James Murray from BCG. I'm out here at Mitiamo in north central Victoria at our 2022 main research site in this part of the world. So one of the major projects we're working on here at Mitiamo is a pulse agronomy project with GRDC and Agriculture Victoria. So the idea of the pulse agronomy project is to investigate agronomic levers that we can pull to reduce the economic yield gap when it comes to pulse production, and also start to expand pulse production in this part of the world. So the traditional approach is growing vetch and field peas, but we're investigating methods here that can start to open up options such as chickpeas and lentils to be a little more profitable in these sorts of rotations. So today, myself and our Research and Extension Officer, Brooke Bennett, will show you a bit around the site here at Mitiamo and some of the trials that we're investigating here on this site.
Hi, I'm Brooke Bennett. I'm the Research and Extension Officer with the Birch Cropping Group. So what we're standing in front of here is our soil amelioration trial, and what we're trying to look at is how different soil amelioration strategies affect pulse production. So in this trial we've got 4 crop types, so field peas here, chickpeas further up out of view, lentils beside me, and then vetch as well. But the soil here that we're dealing with is quite sodic. There's salinity through it, with getting quite high salinity levels at about 40 centimetres, and we've got an acidic topsoil. So some of the strategies that we've chosen to investigate to overcome this is deep ripping, some gypsum applications, and calciferol. Assessments that we've carried out so far on this trial have involved establishment, having a look at have the plants established just as well on the deep ripping as they have not, and we've found that they have established just as well. We've also taken penetrometer readings to measure the strength of the soil or the compaction, and again what we've found is where we have ripped, we have alleviated that compaction, and in the non-ripped treatments we have got compaction that is starting to affect growth. So what we will do is we'll dig up some plants in the coming weeks and assess the root growth and see what's going on underground.
So one of the challenges that growers face when growing pulses in the farming system is managing broadleaf weeds during that pulse phase. Some of the new tools that are becoming available around herbicide technology, whether that be crop tolerance, but also new herbicides to manage those broadleaf weeds, are really, really important for growers. One product we're investigating here at Mitiamo is Reflex, which is a group 14 herbicide. So traditionally the group 14 herbicides are often used as spikes in knockdowns. However, this new product, Reflex, has significant activity on managing broadleaf weeds as a pre-emergent herbicide. We're investigating here at Mitiamo the crop tolerance of Reflex, but also the weed efficacy when it comes to using that product. So what we've observed this year in 2022 is really good crop safety when it comes to using Reflex in a range of different use patterns. So some post-sow pre-emerge as well as some IBS at varying different rates, a really good crop tolerance to that herbicide. So one of the other things we're investigating as part of this herbicide trial is the impact that some of the in-crop herbicides, in vetch in particular, have on crop safety, and comparing those to some of the safer options we've observed, such as Reflex, used prior to sowing. So here we have EcoPar plus a wetter applied about 3 weeks ago, and here we have Reflex at 900 mils per hectare post-sow pre-emerge. So we can really see there's very little crop damage out of using this product, whereas EcoPar has copped a significant check. This crop could well still grow through this. We'll wait and see what happens, but as it currently stands, it's taken significant damage from utilising that product. So one of the other tools that's quite heavily available to growers now is the use of herbicide tolerant varieties. So here we have a crop of GIA Sire. GIA Sire is a new variety which is tolerant of clopyralid residues within the soil. So that can open up a range of opportunities to growers to manage that residue, but also to control weeds prior to entering the pulse phase, rather than having too big a burden on the broadleaf spectrum when in the pulse phase. So time will tell how this variety stacks up against some of the more conventional varieties. However, in situations where there may be clopyralid residues, this variety opens up a few more options in terms of growing different crops within the farming system.
So here we have our BLP trial. So it's time of sowing trial looking at a range of varieties. So the sowing times of this trial are mid-April at mid-May, and I've got the two beside me, so we can see the mid-April is flowering away, probably flowering too early, and it has been a little bit frosted, but it has a lot more bulk than our later sow in May. In this trial we have a range of varieties, so some have been around for quite a while and are grown in the area. We've also got some newer lines released in the last couple of years, and we've also got a couple of breeding lines in here that are still being trialled and could potentially be released in the future. Price research that we've done in this region, we're constantly finding that the earlier you sow, the higher yielding, which is to be expected. But what we know with field peas is that the earlier you sow, you increase your risk of not only frost but disease. And we know that's why a lot of growers sow later, to avoid that disease risk. And so with the number of newer lines, we wanted to have a look at how the disease affected these varieties across the two times of sowing. So these plots were sown mid-April, the early sowing, and you can see quite a bit of disease throughout the plots. And so we've been monitoring this and assessing the disease as it's been forming, and we'll continue to do so right through to harvest, and we'll assess yield and see what that disease impacts on yield. With this trial that we're really interested in looking at is end fixation. So there's a lot more bulk in this first time of sowing compared to the second. So most likely fixing a lot more nitrogen. And so yes, we have a frost and disease risk, but if we do decide to take this to hay or brown manure, we're going to have a lot more N in the system for the following crop compared to our later sown trial that is not doing a whole lot at the moment.